Very important aspect from the founding father, which was, of course, the establishment of the People Liberation Army of Namibia, or PLAN, in 1962, and when they launched a guerrilla war against the apartheid government of South Africa. Now, joining me, I've got two very special guests, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that you have come out and come and speak to us as well. We know generally that the military and those that are in the force in one form or the other are never really available to speak to us publicly because of the nature of the office. But I'm joined by Erastus Negonga, former regional commander of NWF, and of course the former permanent secretary as well within the ministry, the first one immediately after independence, and of course also by Major General Desiderius Shilunga, former Deputy Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force as well. Thank you very much, Major General, for making time out to join us. Thank you so much also for being here with us.
Thank you.
Just to, I think, start off first and foremost, Major General, how did the news of the passing of the late President reach you, and what were some of your immediate reactions to hearing this news?
Well, the news was really shocking. You know, although we had information that he is hospitalized, and suddenly the news came that he's no more. So, as any other person, had no words to say. So it was really a shocking news to hear.
We've known for about 2 weeks, that he's not been well. Went into hospital, but as Major General is saying, still news that arrives at you with a lot of shock when it was announced.
Yes, I have received this sad news with shock and disbelief. It was the most shocking message I have received in my life for obvious reasons.
Initially, if we just reflect back on right before independence, Major General, we know that we hear from a lot of the politicians, of course, Gwen Lizard was here a little bit earlier as well, all of them talking about the fact that the first point of information around Sam Nujoma was the fact that he was the commander, of course, of the People Liberation Army of Namibia. And a lot of the news media during the time, of course, painted him as a leader of this rebel group and so on. What were some of your first stories around the late president and the first time that you've heard about him?
No, of course, I have heard those propagandas, but I knew that it was not true. So when I met him first abroad, then of course he is just a normal person like any other person. And when we interact, you see it already that this is a different person who is having a vision to liberate the country. And, the propagandas are normally being spread out so that you can believe and not follow what the real liberation struggle is all about. So what we have seen is that we were genuinely fighting for the independence of this country, and he was the genuine leader and the commander-in-chief of the PLAN, so that all SWAPO members and combatants could listen to him. His leadership influence was so strong that everybody could believe and follow. That is how the whole liberation struggle went, with discipline and believe that the fight of the struggle will continue, and we will win the struggle one of the good day.
If one looks at it, Mr. Negonga, you're of course the permanent secretary immediately after independence of the ministry, of course. Many saying that his approach to the security forces was that of a lot of discipline, being organized, being focused, and of course a lot of hard work there as well. Just reflect a little bit on his leadership style and what were some of his expectations at the advent of independence when you were appointed, particularly of course thinking also around the fact that there was a lot of work to do with the former South African forces and other Namibian forces, and now turning this into a Namibian Defence Force and changing the security apparatus from being liberation struggle fighters to actually building a security administration in the country.
Dr. Sam Nujoma has been the Commander-in-Chief, both for the People's Liberation Army of Namibia and for the Namibian Defence Force. And in all the seasons when we were fighting for the liberation of this country, Tatekuru Sam Nujoma has applied different strategies, different tactics, and all of them have worked very well, including for a unification of various parties in our armed liberation struggle. When we were in exile, with me, I came across with Dr. Sam Nujoma when he came to see us in 1974, when we came from home. We were very young.
Which country was this now?
It was Zambia.
In 1974.
1974, at the western province of Zambia in Shatutwa. That time we were very young. With me, it was just 18 years.
Sure.
And then, since that time, I have been inspired by the founding president. Because all in all, his approach to different people of different categories and ages, really, he tried to win the hearts of everybody by one, repeating the mission of ourselves, going there, what's the purpose? Articulating that we cannot remain in the colony of South Africa. We are there to liberate our country. And then also, by doing that, saying that part, we must be brave enough, and then we must have a unit of purpose. A unit of purpose is what they have been emphasizing. By that time, yes, we happen to be having that inspiring from the founding president, and it has gone through with me. Because from there, then the next time I came to see him when we have finished the graduation of our first training in Congo, Tanzania. There, just he came to make sure that he happened to give us instructions, combat order, as a new recruits, and then emphasize on those missions of the liberation struggle. That have been his, his culture. Even when the main training center of the People's Liberation Army of Namibia came to Urubango, that is Tobias Anyok Training Center, he is always there to close the training with graduations. That's why almost each and every member of the People's Liberation Army of Namibia, he knew the founding president, the commander-in-chief, physically, because he came physically, never delegate. That's why when we were fighting during the Liberation Army of Namibia against the Boers, we have direct order.
So he was leading from the front. It wasn't.
He was leading from the front. Can you imagine? There are sessions, training sessions, at the Topias Hynix Training Center in Lubango. All of them, he never delegated. I have never seen Sam Nujoma delegated. His responsibility and his task as the commander-in-chief to command each and everybody. Therefore, it was very much easy when we became the commanders at the operations. When I became the commander of the Northwestern Front, and even the junior positions, all the combatants, they have already in mind what was instructed by the president, by the commander-in-chief.
If one looks at this, Major General, of course, many say that he was also a very inspirational leader, in a sense that unwavering belief and conviction that, look, freedom is going to come to Namibia. This is going to be an independent country that we're going to run with the rule of law. Reflect a little bit on that conviction and the leadership style in as far as your experience with him is concerned.
Yeah, my experience, honestly speaking, as Comrade Negonga mentioned, Tatekuru was a person who liked interaction. He liked giving instructions physically to people, addressing you, and find out whether you understand it. and then he go around where he sees that there is probably a misunderstanding. He go there himself and try to resolve the problem. One of the good thing that I can say is that he has that trust in his PLAN combatants and many others. Once he give orders, the orders are being carried out. Operations like the commander here is talking about, operations are being sanctioned, are being carried out successfully, and he is visiting operational fronts physically to engage himself with the commanders and with the soldiers themselves, the PLAN combatants themselves. He's a man of the people. He like any person that is he face, he like to discuss with him. He like to greet. And that is where he also have that encouragement to say the people I'm leading, they are so positive and they are very strong also to support him in the operations.
What we also know is, of course, he was very big on unity.
Yes.
And if we look at it at the advent of independence, we know that, of course, the security forces were divided. Even if you look at whether it's the defense force or the police, you had to now deal with those that were, particularly in the police force as well, those that were now already in the force before independence, and that integration once at the advent of independence. Just reflect a little bit on how he handled some of those challenges around bringing that unity within the forces immediately after independence. Dr. Negonga, we can start with you, and then we can also hear from Major General.
Yes. With the independence, the president, the commander-in-chief was very much tactful and full of strategies. In the first place, with a strategy for putting all the forces together, because you cannot have two armies. One is the former PLAN liberation struggle, and one for those who have been under the commandment of the Boers. Then the concept of reconciliation and instruction came in there from the founding president. And there, how successfully that will happen, it is that Nujoma's strategy is to find out who will be responsible for capacity building and development of various units of the defense force. For the army, because that was the first unit we have started with. With the army, the commanding chief at the time have identified the British government, the British army, to be our developer at the beginning. For the obvious reasons. The reason number one, we have been a member of the Commonwealth, that's Namibia. And then we thought that being the member of the Commonwealth, let us take that, direction for, uniting those who have been already used to that, to the British type of military culture, and then we came from the former Soviet Union at the time, from Russia, and then we came in. After we happened to know that the national reconciliation has worked, we had received another instruction from Commanding Chief that no, for now, let us switch back to our military culture of the army of that with the Russian Federation. That's why even the trainings happened to change. And also for the Navy.
So which year was this now? Would that change from the British to the Russian?
I think that change came about 1994, 95. Then we changed there. And then after we have changed to the Russian Federation, and even the equipment, because most of the equipment, which was within the Defense Force, they were inherited from the People's Liberation Army of Namibia. They are those weapons which we happen to use when we are fighting against the Boers. That one happened to give us a room of master them better than other weapons we can get from Britain. Therefore, being the tactical commander, the commanding-in-chief, he knows how to enter, he knows how to achieve the national reconciliation, and even in the process, he happened also to know how we can go to our original route. For the Navy, it's simply that because the Federal Republic of Brazil has already been, the close allies of SWAPO when you were in exile. That's why from there immediately we happened to get instruction from the commanding-in-chief that the Navy should be developed by the Brazilians. And that happened to go nicely up to now, without any hassle. And my capacity, on our capacity as the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Defense, we were very much closer engaging with the commanding-in-chief because we have to be giving instructions to go and negotiate all the, levels of cooperation with the British government. And then with the Air Force, it's where the commanding-in-chief happened also to realize that, no, China will be in the position to capacitate us in the Namibian Defence Force with whatever we can have. We get training there, we get Air Force, apparatus there, we get planes. So from there, the Namibian Defence Force was built based on that pillars of the Defence Force.
Of the Defence Force, yeah. Major General, just to reflect a little bit, I think particularly with the police force internally, we know that there was a lot of mistrust between those that were already in the force before independence, and of course, there's new members that had to join in 1990. What is your experience in terms of his leadership style and trying to bring unity within the police force and to just really change the role and responsibility of the police internally? Because we knew before independence that they were part of the apartheid administration, and a lot of people were fearful of the police, not have the sort of comfort that we have right now as the protection within the country. Let's talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there was really a problem of trust in the force. I remember when we started in 1990, we found the former, Southwest African police in the positions within the whole force. Excuse me. What they decide to do before independence is that they decide to occupy most of the crucial posts. That when you come in, for instance, us that were integrated in and to form one force, one police force, you will not have access to go to either to a certain, for promotion purposes to be either a commander. They seal those posts so that we cannot have access, and they even sideline us. I remember some of our officers that were deployed after the recruitment. Some were just given offices, and in those offices, there's nothing. You are not being given any document to read or to sign or to attend to. So it was very, very difficult until such a time that we discussed this issue with the Inspector General. That time it was Raunga Ndima, our second Inspector General. And he had really worked very hard to influence the changes. And then we make sure that with the advice of the British advisors that Negonga is speaking about, there was also some of them in the police. They have advisors, and they make some researches so that other posts and the positions should be frozen, and then they should be told to be moved somewhere.
The other thing is, of course, also we know, particularly when there's a transition in power, there's a lot of abuse also from internal security forces towards the citizens themselves.
Yeah.
Speak to us a little bit in terms of his approach and what was demanded of the police force to be able to build a trust relationship with the Namibian populace.
Yeah, one thing was that we have to reform the system of operation. because the system that we found there is totally brutal. For instance, when you arrest a person is just being arrested brutally and is being kicked and being, lifted up and thrown in the van. But procedures were enforced to be followed. Of course, they were there, but the others were not following it. So we tried through training, capacity building, to enforce these methods and procedures so that the young generations that are coming in the force, they should implement those processes, and they should also teach others. And they should also, that is where we have created a police public relation office, so that we can also make the public to understand that the police of this independence now is not comparable to the others. We are the police for the people, and we need to have a good cooperation and relationship with the public so that we can share. It's not only the police that can combat crime, we combat crime together with the public, so that the public can gain that trust to us to say, no, the police for the independent country are not the same as those. It went to change very slowly, but gradually it went until we master it. And that is when some of the British advisors, they decide to tell us to freeze some of the posts and so that we can redraft the structure of the police. So, as you said, the trust from the public, it was difficult for the public to trust the police then, because they were also saying that it seems that there is no different from you and the others. But through our work and interaction and engagement with the public, we have made them to understand and to start cooperate with us and give us really good cooperation.
In conclusion, Dr. Negonga, how do you want the founding father to be remembered by the Namibian nation, and how do you want us to continue with his legacy?
Late Sam Nujoma has been a pillar for the liberation struggle of our country, the liberation hero of our, struggle. And you know that with Nujoma, there is no comparison. And he has been a hard-working person who has been assistant leader, and he has been on the ground. Wherever he happened to have a mission, a task to perform, he always go to the community. Either the traditional leaders or the community leaders or the church leaders, all of them, they meet Nujoma there and direct them, specifically, even the Defence Force, even the police, as he mentioned here. I think the way I want Nujoma to be, legacy to be celebrated, is by taking various programs and hear more for those who have been working with him. And also, I wish all the regions and the communities could be given that opportunity to celebrate the legacy of a leader. That is Sam Nujoma. And I hope that will be done by taking the, whatever the leadership can take, so that the whole nation could be sensitized that the pillar of the house has gone, and now it is our responsibility to celebrate the legacy in all those styles we can take.
Well, thank you.
And with his unmatched, resilient legacy, that will be cherished by our youth and also by everybody. The work that that Sam Nujoma, the late, may his soul rest in peace, that he has done is uncomparable to anyone in this independent country. Therefore, I support fully what Dr. Negonga said. He needs to be celebrated, he needs to be respected, he needs to be applauded for the good work that he has done for this country. If it was not him that has pillared and lead this liberation struggle to liberate this country, then we don't know where we could be today. So because of his successes and his effort through the people that he was leading in the liberation struggle and also in the independent country, we need to celebrate his legacy.
Well, thank you very much for making time out to join us this afternoon.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Not an easy one, of course, quite a difficult one, particularly for those that have worked together with him. Our first permanent secretary of the Ministry of Defence of an independent Namibia, Erastus Negonga, and of course, Major General retired Desiderius Shilunga, who was a former Deputy Inspector General of the Namibian Police Force, just reflecting on the relationship of the President with both forces and the security sector, basically, before and after independence. Stay with us as we continue on the life and times of our founding father.